Business principles on today's Smart Chiropractor show. What is your chiropractic exit strategy? That is what we are going to discuss. I'm going to set the table here before I kick it over to Jason. This is an important topic because so many chiropractors out there, they do not have an exit strategy. Or maybe the exit strategy is I will sell the practice, or maybe I will sell my building. Those aren't terrible exit strategies, but they certainly don't need to be the only exit strategy. Shouldn't be up a creek if you don't own the building you practice in. There are ways that you can have an exit strategy that's meaningful, that also helps support you, and that serves your patients at a higher level. So many of us out there, we have hundreds and thousands, and some chiropractors, tens of thousands, 10,000 plus patient records, and I'm going to burst a few bubbles. We overvalue it when we're trying to sell it to the young associate. Yet we've built all that trust, all of that, no trust and like factor, and we ride off into the sunset, never to be heard from again. And that's like the win. I believe there are ways to ethically and appropriately monetize the audience that you build while building and growing your practice well into your sunset years, so that you don't only have to hope that you buy the building your practice is located in to have an exit strategy. And God forbid, chiropractic is a physical profession. I was speaking with a doc earlier this week at Parker Seminars, and she's unable to physically practice, and she's in her, I'm going to say, late 30s, early 40s. It's physical. Many chiropractors out there, it's just the way it is, really struggle with injuries as they get later on in the profession and later on in the career. And some don't exit at the time. It's like a major league athlete. It's 1 in 1,000 that exits the way they want to. It's 999. At the timing kind of catches up with them, and it's suboptimal. Now, if you're a major league athlete, you have millions of dollars in the bank account, that's probably not the worst thing in the world, and you can mitigate against it. But if you have been a service-based healthcare professional for your entire career and don't have that exit strategy, and it's pushed upon you due to an external event, you can really end up the creek. And it's a position I believe none of us should be in, but we have to shift our mindset, getting back to our mindset segment, but also change some of our business model to enable that. And Jason, as we discuss this, I'd love to have your thoughts. That was maybe a little bit more than setting the table, but let's get into some of those details. I'll ask you to dive a little bit deeper into how chiropractors can really consider building a sustainable exit strategy that doesn't rely upon only owning the building.
It's such an important topic. I'm so glad you brought that up for this week. It's funny, I think it was just yesterday I was watching something about how some obscene number, it was like 70 or 90% of NFL players are broke within like 7 years after they stop playing. It's just crazy. So that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They make millions of dollars. They spend millions of dollars. They trust people maybe they shouldn't be trusting, and so on and so forth. And then after all that great opportunity, oftentimes end up broke. And that's not limited to the NFL. I think that's a lot of athletes in general, and it's a lot of people in our profession as well. Now, the good news is about chiropractors is most chiropractors have longer career cycles than professional athletes, but the concept is the same. There will be a day that for whatever reason, voluntary or involuntary, that you're not able to show up at your physical practice to provide physical services in exchange for physical dollars. It's just one day that's going to happen. So let's define first what an exit strategy is. Exit, to leave. Strategy, have a plan. What's your plan when you're no longer able to physically show up to provide physical adjustments? What do? That's what we do as chiropractors, done by hand, provide adjustments in a physical building. A lot of chiropractors would want to argue with me if I suggested it was anything to the contrary. But when we ask this question, the game changes, because you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do? What would you do if you got injured, if you had a life event, a family event, if you needed to move for whatever the reasons are? Family needs you somewhere else. The family wants to move somewhere else. The family gets transferred somewhere else. Something goes on that you go, you know what? I can't be here. I got to be somewhere else. That's not only not impossible, it's actually very common. So are you thinking about the future? Are you thinking about the consequences? Are you thinking about what if? That's what insurance is all about. You don't buy insurance to use insurance. You buy insurance just in case something happens, with the hope that you actually never have to use it. What we're talking about is having a strategy in place so that not if, but when you figure out, voluntarily or involuntarily, you can't generate revenue bending over a table, what's your plan to be able to generate income otherwise? And that's really the question that we have to ask. And there's not just one answer. Listen, there's some people that were smart back in, I guess they call it the Mercedes 80s. They generated a lot of revenue at the time, just like pro athletes do. And they took a lot of that excess money and invested in things like real estate or other types of investments that therefore generated revenue after they were no longer able to practice. Now, for several decades now, many chiropractors have not had the benefits of the Mercedes 80s, as in the very generous reimbursement of their health insurance policies at the time, and have been eking out a living. Now, I'm not saying they've been broke. I'm just saying the same type of revenue opportunity has not been there for most these days like it was in years past, and likely for those doctors who are probably your mentors or your field doctors or your teachers or your coaches. They just lived in a different time frame. Today's world is completely different. Most people have deductibles so high that they barely meet them unless there was a crisis, and or co-payments that are so high that they're about the equivalent of your actual adjustment fee, of your over-the-counter adjustment fee, not your insurance adjustment fee. So you've been making a living. The question is, just like making sure, and this is what Jeff was talking about earlier, if you were a pro athlete or if you were advising a pro athlete, wouldn't your advice be take full advantage of the excess revenue you're making now and be smart about investing in how you're going to generate money when you're no longer able to play, when your contract's over, if you get hurt? Of course, that would be the smart approach. Guess what? It's the smart approach for you too. So let's just dig a little bit deeper. What are we talking about? We're talking about figuring out ways to generate monthly recurring revenue to cover your monthly recurring expenses in ways that do not require you to bend over a table and be there physically. Now, some of you may mean, oh, okay, that means that I'll open up more practices for other people to do the work. That's an option. But you're still managing people and you still got to manage the business. There's other ways in today's world. Jeff and I are releasing a brand new book called the Payday Practice that solves this exact issue for those that are thinking about it. We come up with 3 different ways that you can be generating monthly recurring revenue. And only one of those ways requires you to be physical. If you wanted to take our strategies and hire somebody else to do the physical work, you could do that. But there are ways you can take your knowledge, your information, your expertise, and generate monthly recurring revenue to cover your monthly recurring expenses by sharing what you know. That is a really important and valuable way to do it. Why? It doesn't require you or anyone else to be in a physical practice. We're not saying you shouldn't practice. We're saying in the event you can't practice, you should have some money coming in to support yourself and your family. And the third way to do it is to recommend your favorite products, the things that people are probably already buying now. They probably have come to you and asked you your recommendation for what type of daily supplement should I take? What kind of mattress should I sleep on? You get questions every day, all day. What should I take for? What should I do for? What's your favorite fill in the blank? And if you're not taking that opportunity seriously, then you might just be holding back from your number one best opportunity to finance your future or your best exit strategy possible. Just like pro athletes who should be making hay while the sun is shining, you should be generating monthly recurring revenue while you have the audience of people you have, as in your patient base. And if you're following what we're teaching you, we'll call it your health tribe, which is the number of people you're able to influence in your practice, on your email list, on social media, and who you can teach and invite consistently. And the new way to think about your exit strategy is to build monthly recurring revenue that you can count on whether you're physically at your practice or not. And now is the time to do it. Just like a pro athlete has a window of time in order to be able to take advantage of that revenue. If you're in active practice now is the time for you to be able to create your knowledge membership base or your subscriptions to your favorite products so you can generate enough monthly recurring revenue that builds over time so that by the time you need to exit, you've had enough time to build momentum to generate enough monthly recurring revenue so you never have to worry about finances again. That's our goal for you. Whether you're retiring and needing to exit or whether you're still in practice, I can promise you one thing, that when you eliminate the financial stress that is behind motivating for you to do what you do, you will be a better doctor. You will be a better person. You will be a better fill in the blank, husband, wife, son, daughter, father, mother, whatever you want to be. When finances don't have to stress you out, you will be a better one of those. So do it now. Momentum matters. Time is on your side. Just decide whether you want to finance your future starting now. All of us give our children advice now that we're older. We say, invest a little bit while you're young because of the benefit of compound interest over time. We're teaching the same exact thing. We refer to Einstein's compound interest, but then change it to be the compounding effect of the people who are interested in learning from you over time is what's going to finance your future. It is your number one exit strategy you can be thinking about right now. If you want to learn more, make sure you stay tuned for the book, The Payday Practice. Make sure you take up our invitation to join us for our webinar, and make sure you join us for our 30-day accelerator Payday Practice training. We will go deep, not into just why you should do it and get into how you should do it, but also work with you to figure out how you should do it. Not how you can do it, but how you should specifically do it. There's a lot of different choices. It's very individual depending on where you want to exit, what you want to do, how you want to do it. Everyone's got a different story. We're here to help you share and tell your story that's right for you. Jeff, exit strategy is the name of the game. Most chiropractors don't want to think there will be a day that they can't do it. We don't want to think about it either, but it's a responsible thing to do because it's inevitable. There will be that day that you're going to face. And the sooner you face it and the smarter you face it, the easier it's going to be.
You said it, and there's no turning back the clock. Gravity and time, these are things that they are going to continue on. So considering exactly as you laid out, considering the options for monthly recurring revenue, considering the options of what you can build today to really enable you to have the future you want tomorrow is a fantastic way to think and consider your practice. And the benefit is it can also help meet your monthly minimum expenses in the meantime. So the sooner you get started, momentum matters. You said it. For everybody listening and watching, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I feel like over the last few weeks, we have had some fantastic shows. We have some great ones coming up. But I say that because if you are new to producing content and you are looking at your first few videos saying, gosh, I don't know, I didn't think I sounded and looked like that. Right? That is a normal thing. It is a skill. It is less about talent, more about consistency and skill. Skills are learned over time. Our shows, I feel like, continue to get better as we do them. And we are 6 months in. So if you are new, whether you're a Smart Chiropractor member utilizing our scripts, or whether you're going on your own right now, not yet a member, don't be too hard on yourself. Get out there, teach and invite, have some fun with it. Don't worry about what you look or what you sound like today. Keep it up, push through. You will build that skill over time. We're going to keep on teaching as well. So please, again, if you are checking this out on your mobile phone right now or on a social network, enable notifications so you don't miss a segment. If you're checking this out on YouTube, we would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you do not miss anything there as well. And keep an eye out. The Payday Practice is launching very soon. I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to have a special episode next week talking it at depth and at length about the Payday Practice. But stay tuned. Keep your eyes on the email. Keep your eyes on this channel. Contribute. The more that you contribute, the more you let us know what you like, what you'd love for us to dive into, the more that we can fine-tune the show to deliver the most value to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of Jason and our entire Smart Chiropractor team spread out across the country and beyond, we thank you so much for being a chiropractor. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.